Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome back to the old computer shack. It is long past time for an H11 video, and we're almost ready to transplant all of these cards from the test rig thing into the H11 itself. But in the meantime, I need to make some cables, and I need to populate these RAM boards. Now this is the Heathkit 4K by 16 SRAM board. As you recall, I ended up finding some bad ICs on all of those boards and consolidated all of the good ones into the first three boards, and I've still got this one that I didn't have RAMs for, but I got some well, brand new old stock 2114s to replace these with, and I got an extra one too, just in case, because, well, you know how it is when you buy ICs. It's always good to get an extra or three, because you end up needing them. It's like that thing where you hear this word that you've never heard before, and then you start hearing it everywhere. It's like you need some IC that you've never needed before, and then you end up needing it everywhere, right? So, assuming that I'm smart enough to get this thing unplugged, let's install that RAM in this card. Well, there's supposed to be 5 of them in there. Oh, there's 6 of them in there. Come on, boys. Out you go. Out you go. Too dumb to get RAM out of a tube. There we go. Hopefully I didn't staticify them. Oh well, I've got extras if I did, right? Okay, and then this other card, this is one of those 2 megabyte cards, the one for the 1173 CPU, and this is the one that only had 1 megabyte populated, but I bought 50 41 256 SRAMs to finish populating this card, so we'll have to do that too. I only needed 36 of them. It's got parity on it, I think. 1 2 3 4 5 6, yeah, so 6, yeah, 36 of them. But it was cheaper to get 50, and I don't know, you always need 41 256s for something. They're in like everything, you know what I mean? So I think that'll be fine. So we'll populate that thing too. Alright, and I'm sure you don't want to watch me sticking RAM in sockets, because that is not very interesting. So I will cut the camera off while I do that, and then we will try to test this one again. I'm going to wait and test this one after everything's out of the test thing and in the H11. Then I'll put the LSI 11.2 back into this thing with the Cubone and test this card again. But anyway, I digress. But when I pulled this card out, I yanked this wire off of my janky serial port conglomeration, which I need to make cables for. So this was the one of the hardware handshaking lines tying back to itself, so hopefully that wasn't really needed. If it was, I'll have to look the pin out back up and fix that before we can get a console. Oops. Well, we accomplished that job with only 1 bent pin, so yay for us, I think. Oh, I need to re-jumper this thing for 2K words instead of 1. Hang on, I gotta look in the manual. Here we are again with the Cubone testing the RAM, and it hasn't failed yet, but I'm gonna let it run a little bit longer. And yeah, the serial port must not be using hardware handshaking, because despite my RTS CTS jumper wire not being installed, I can still access the ODT, so that's good to know. Anyway, I guess that's it for this video. It wasn't very exciting, I'm sorry, but I'll let this run a little bit, and then I told myself before that I needed to finish the H11 before I got into any other projects, and you can see me slowly slipping into shiny squirrel mode here. I got to chase the other shiny squirrels because I've decided that, you know, maybe as long as every other video is about the H11, then since I just had this loot haul, I can work on some of that stuff every other video, because I had 2 loot hauls. Like, I went to the pit and I got the H19 and the ADM-3A and the K-Pro 2 and the Osborne 1, right? And that was awesome. And then a neighbor was like, hey, I got some old computers in my basement, do you want them? And I was like, well, yeah, I guess if you're just going to throw them away, I can tear the power supplies out of them and use them for something, I guess, right? Because I figured they were, you know, like 5-year-old, like, junk, you know what I'm saying, not actual old stuff. But it turns out that, I mean, one of them's kind of new. They were all like CRT era machines, but one of them was a little too new for my taste. But the other ones, you know, they both had floppy drives, and one of them's even, it's an AT case with an AT power supply, but it's not like a 486. It's got PCI slots. I think it's some early Pentium system of some kind, with a bunch of integrated peripherals, like the sound card is integrated on the board and stuff. So that might make a really neat DOS machine. I assume that there'd be DOS drivers for all that stuff, considering the age of the thing. But anyway, yeah. So I want to look at a bunch of that stuff. So every other video, I guess, will be about the H11. So anyway, I digress. Thank you for joining me. Now I'm going to go take apart the Osborne 1 and see if there's any interestingness beyond the usual Osborne 1-ness inside of it. So I will see you in a little bit. Yes, and this will run in the meantime. See you later. Thanks for joining.